everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do some spooky Halloween DIYs. For the most part they're pretty easy to do. We've got our mystical spell book, our caged bat, our crystal ball, a few candles, and our little place setter. He's just really adorable. So we are going to run through those pretty quick, and I'm going to try to make my videos a little bit faster. I think the last couple have been a little on the long side, and I'll show a couple at the end that I ended up doing just on the side. Not going to show how to make it. They're pretty easy to do, so stay tuned and hopefully you will recreate some of these. Let me know if you do, and don't forget to subscribe.
Alright, so we're going to start off with the skeleton bat in a cage. I have seen this done as well with the laundry baskets. I've been using these smaller black baskets and a few zip ties. I thought that the smaller baskets was nice because you don't have to spray paint them and it takes up a lot less space. I don't know about you, but I have definitely have a certain commodity when it comes to space. So first I'm making a little zip tie spot for him to perch. So I'm going to put his little batty feet on that zip tie that I put in. I leave it pretty loose, that way you can finagle those little claws in there, and once you do, you'll zip it down a little bit, and don't worry too much about this guy. He's got some pretty flexible bones, so I wouldn't worry about breaking him, snapping it, or anything like that. I can't speak for all of them, but I know mine was pretty flexible. Once you get him in there, you're going to zip tie one side down, and I think you can probably tell there, I probably used my mouth to try to get it to hold still. I know, that's kind of gross. Sorry. And then you're going to zip tie the other side. Sorry, that little frame just broke there. My husband called and I had to stop for a minute, unless you wanted to have my entire conversation on here. So you'll zip tie the other side down. I left a little bit of slack on the other side, so there's some space, you know, to maneuver a little bit. So then once you're happy with where he is, you'll just zip everything down. I'm trying to push his little like wings into the cage. They part of the bones started to come through, and it's all right. I think I ended up giving up and just decided he was fine the way he was. So once you've gotten it all situated, all zipped down the way you want, you're just going to clip off the excess with some wire cutters or scissors. I definitely suggest using the wire cutters. It's a lot easier. And there you have it. There's your little bat in the cage. Next, we're just going to make some candles. These are some black candles. They had some other labels on them from the dollar store. So I went on to good old Pinterest and found these labels. They're like the apothecary labels. I will have where I found them linked below so you can use them as well if you want to. So I just went ahead and trimmed off all of the paper, and this is the first time I'm actually going to use this. I thought I'm going to use a glue stick, and then I said I'm going to try out that adhesive spray, and I gave a little spritz to the paper and just put it right there on the candle, and it was like magic. I highly recommend. I got that spray adhesive at the dollar store. You can get it in a lot of different places too. So I just kind of wiped off the excess that were around it. I haven't given it a chance to try and see how it works if it dries and you can see the glue. I'm not sure how that would work. I'll have to give it a try someday and see if it looks like anything, or if it leaves like a residue look to it or not. So I just go ahead and do it to all three of these candles. That free printable does actually have 4 different ones. I just kind of picked out my 3 favorite. And one thing to keep in mind when you're spraying it, it doesn't spray very direct, so I would definitely recommend having something underneath what you're spraying it on. So for example, here I have my little silicone mats, and there you have it. So next we're going to make our spell book. First I am going to go in with this paperback. I thought a paperback would be a lot easier, and I'm just going to distress it some, kind of tearing at it with a this is actually a pretty dull X-Acto knife, and just really just tear it up because it's supposed to look like an old book. Some of the books that you can find at the dollar store are pretty old looking to begin with. I know one of them that I'd seen that I'd used on something else had a pretty worn pages on the outside, like it didn't print right, like the pages didn't match up for size. So once you're all done with that and you clean up, I'm going in with Waverly Ink, and I'm just going to give it one good coat. And you don't have to be too precise about this because there's going to be a couple other steps that makes it look a little more weathered. So I'm just going to go through and do on what I shot on camera. I did the front and the spine. I do end up going back and doing the back. And now I have the Waverly chalk paint in Hazelnut and a little chippy brush, and we're just going to go in and give it kind of a more distressed look to it. One thing that's nice, since you did some distressing to begin with, that's really what this paint is going to hold on to. It's going to really cling on to all of that scratching and distressing and all that. It was actually kind of a cool little effect that I ended up with. So you're going to just kind of go through, and then I got the bright idea. I was like, these pages are way too white, so I went in with that same paint and go over the pages. I'm sure there's a lot of different things you could do. I think as a kid, when you used to have like these little history projects, we used to use like tea bags to kind of give paper a an older look to it. So you could certainly do that as well. I already had the paint out, so it made a lot of sense to me, at least, to go ahead and do that on the pages. And I thought that the black was going to be too dark, so I went ahead and did a little bit more of that hazelnut color. And now I'm going to go in with Waverly in Truffle, and I'm going to take it on those pages just to give it a little bit more of a worn, dirty, old book look to it. So it does end up turning out pretty nice. I'm not sure where I'm going to display it just yet. On Saturday I'm going to be posting a video where I'm doing like a decorate with me, so you can kind of see what I end up doing with it. I am going to go back in and do just a little bit more distressing. It's going to bring in a lot more of that white back in, so it's nice because it gives it a little bit of an offset. It breaks it up a little bit. So I like the way it turned out though. So next we are going to use one of these DIY snow globes, and we're going to make a crystal ball. I didn't like that it was clear. I didn't like that it was really easy to see in. So what I went ahead and did, I put in some Mod Podge and I mixed in just a little bit of black, and as you can tell, it was too much black. So use very, very sparingly if you're going to use black, or you could use a light gray and get the same effect. I do end up adding in just some white chalk paint just to break up some of it, just to get it a little bit lighter. I'm just going to go in and kind of paint it, swirling it all around in the crystal ball, or what will be your crystal ball, just to give it kind of that smoky-ish effect. I saw online you could also use like smoke. I was a little afraid of the idea of doing that because it is plastic. So you're just going to swirl it around in there, and I think I tried eventually to go back with some water and try to lighten up some of the areas. I think what would work probably better is if you water down that paint concoction you have there, and that would be helpful, I think. So next I decide I want to put one of these little skulls. They come in a pack of I think 8 from the dollar store, and I'm just going to put him on that little insert part. Just glue him down. He's pretty good and stuck there, and I decide I'm going to spray paint him gold and the lid of the crystal ball gold. I'm doing a lot of black and gold in my decor this year for Halloween. So, and there you have it. He is all set. Alright, for our last DIY, we're going to make this little place card holder. He could really be just about anything. We're going to use one of those little plastic glasses. I think they come in a 6-pack at the dollar store, and you're just going to cut off the edge that actually connects to the bottom. And to do that, you're just going to warm up an X-Acto knife or something to that effect, and just trim it down. And I sanded off because it is end up being pretty rough, and you're going to make sure you want to clean off the inside of that little glass. I did not do that, and I ended up having a little patch of sand in there. So you're going to glue his little head down to the bottom, the base of the glass, and I'm going to take him outside and spray paint him. I decided to go with black on this guy, and now you're going to just go ahead and put a little dab of hot glue on the back side of him. You could do it all the way around if you want to. It's up to you. So here's if you want to use one of those little chalkboard things that you can write on from the dollar store. I'm going to try out a couple of different things to show you on here. You can also use just a little tiny clothespin and put that in there if you wanted to print out your own little place setting cards or scary words or whatever you want to do with it. You could just make it your own, make it fun. And then I get the bright idea to use one of these teeny tiny little pumpkins. I can't remember if this guy came from the dollar store. He might have, he may not have. There's a little wire on the end, so I'm just going to go ahead. I thought I could pull it out, but that didn't really work. So I'm just going to go ahead and go in with some wire cutters and trim that down. I don't think I trimmed it all the way off. I was afraid it would end up leaving some gaping hole or something. So I decide I am going to go in with a little bit of hot glue and put that on top of the little lid, and it just kind of makes him really cute. He could be a little more of a decoration more so than a place setter. So he's super cute though with the little pumpkin on top. If you wanted to get super cute and everything, you could actually draw it on a jack-o'-lantern. That'd be cute.
Thanks again for tuning in and checking out my DIYs. A couple that I made off camera was this spider venom jar that I'll probably put some kind of little bit of a liquid in there for Halloween. We're going to have a little mini party since we won't be doing a lot of trick-or-treating. And I've got a bottled swamp fog. I think I'm going to get some dry ice and put it in here and have it, flowing out. I think the kids will really like that. And I think on Saturday, my next video, I'm going to be posting a decorate with me / transitioning some of my stuff from fall to Halloween. So it should be a lot of fun, and hopefully you'll come back and take a look. And don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.